Hey kids, I'm back. So, thought I'd try this again and see how this is all working out. Not many people can sport a hat like this and a Transformer shirt at the same time with Optimus Prime on it, but I think I pulled it off pretty good. I've sent out two of these messages, and I don't think I've really uh, told you guys much about myself, so I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, sort of say, and hopefully this will reach somebody that it's worth uh, they can get some kind of inspiration from it. First of all, my name is Jeremy Spears. Um, 35 years old, soon to be 36 as of Friday. Born in 1974. Born and raised in Missouri. Of course, you can see my dog. He just wants to be part of the group too. Was born in Missouri. Lived there for about 12 or 13 years, and then moved to Texas to live with my mother and my stepfather at the time. So life was pretty good. Didn't have a horrible life. Had two, or I would say three loving parents, and most of it was great. We had our shares of ups and downs, but who didn't? So it's the American dream to have the perfect family and the perfect life, but it doesn't always seem to work out like that. So I guess the moment when life changed for me and my family, as far as I could say, was March 20th of 2000. My mother was murdered by a former coworker, along with five other people. Out of a total of six people, only one survived. The last time I had heard, he's moved back to Mexico and is semi-paralyzed in the face. From that point on, that's pretty much when I used to tell people that my life ended when my mother died, and that that's when I was going to end it all. But that's truly for me when life sort of began. Between March of 2000 to 2003, I pretty much did everything under the sun that you could probably think of to try and fill the void or fill the pain. I was basically going out and the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing is such a layman term for stuff that people may or may not understand. At that point in time, how can I say this? My stepdad at the time was not in a good place in his life, obviously, after losing his wife of 20 years. Decided to move in with some other family members of mine. And I was left in an apartment by myself, which opened up the door for lots and lots of bad things to happen. And I just remember talking to either my dad a whole lot or talking to my sister a whole lot. Things really started to progress out of control later on that first year. And the second year and the third year just got worse. I would guess that the initial signs of it is that obviously when you lose a loved one, you do get a little depressed. But when somebody actually takes a family member's life, or somebody takes a life just in general, not necessarily one person or the other, but just somebody in general, it's going to send you into some depression, and it's going to send you into some bad places. Nobody's ever exempt from that by any means. Because even if you lose somebody naturally, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to send you to a dark place. But I remember that day very clearly. I had woken up about probably between 8 and 8:30 in the morning. This is how the day started too. I woke up about 8 or 8:30 in the morning, and would grab my cup of coffee and sit there and flip through the TV. And I remember seeing mother's workplace on TV. I passed by and then flipped back and I saw it, and it just said that there had been some sort of robbery at her workplace. And I remember calling it a few times, trying to figure out what was going on, but nobody answered. Well, finally, a police officer did answer when I came to find out later in time that that there was a robbery that had occurred, but I was trying to get a hold of my mom. Wasn't real. He said he didn't know where she was or who she was. He wasn't saying much. So I remember getting all my clothes, and as quickly as I got them on, I sped off in my car to drive up to where she worked. And that when I had pulled up to the car wash, I talked to the police officer and I said, I'm looking for my mom. Where's she at? He's like, I don't know. She's not here. She may be, at the police station. So I drove down to the police station, and I got down there, and I remember talking to one of the police officers. I said, I'm looking for my mom. She's part of the car wash deal that's going on. He's like, okay, well, let me just lead you into the back. And I said, okay. And I remember walking into this back room and seeing an individual family by themselves. I recognized the family, but I didn't know them all that well. From that point on, I said, okay, well, where's she at? He says, well, we're still looking for her, but we'll come get you and let you know. And I said, well, I need to make some phone calls. So if you don't mind, I'd like to use your phone while you're doing that. He said, that's fine. So I tried to get a hold of my stepdad and try to get a hold of my sister, and I tried to get a hold of some other people, but with no luck, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I probably spent close to an hour on the phone just trying to get a hold of people. And that's when I came back into the room, and the family was gone. And I remember kind of peeking around the corner, and I didn't see anybody in the room and so forth like that, so I just sat there for a few minutes, and then a police officer walked in along with 6 other cops. And that to me was just like, this was all too real. It was all too weird. I thought I was just all in a dream. And he told me, he says, Mr. Spears, we found your mom. And we wanted to let you know that she was injured in the robbery, and she didn't make it. And I remember sitting there crying for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then a ball of anger just rose up in me. I remember grabbing a table and literally trying to throw it in the air, and then a couple other cops had grabbed me. And that's when I knew that life had changed. And I wish I could say it was for the better, but it wasn't. It was for the worse. I made my life worse by my choices and my actions and my thoughts. And life was not pretty for me. So by the time that I had got done with all that, I talked to the police officer, and I said, well, I definitely need to get a hold of some family members. Can you help me? He said, sure, absolutely. And so I ended up getting a hold of my stepdad at the time and said, hey, have you talked to Mom this morning? He said, no. He's like, well, you need to come up here. I'm up here at the police station. Something's happened. And he's like, what's going on? And I said, well, there's a robbery up here.